A stunning tale of escape traps its hero in replay. Jersey City, New Jersey. Sunlight seeps through the translucent curtains on his living room window, making the lacquered Matryoshka dolls on the wall case gleam. Sitting on the sofa, Jan Demskier leafs through a thick binder of news clippings about his heroic September 11th escape, still in a daze at the story they tell. He stays home often now, speaking more Ukrainian than English, a language still difficult for him. When he does venture out, he's sometimes overcome with a sense of fear, his head dizzy and heavy, like a big ball of lead. It's been almost a year, but Mr. Demskier has still not returned to his job as one of the workers who wash the endless sheets of glass stacked to the sky in Manhattan. It's become a safe new routine, sitting here amid pillows, adorned with his wife's cross-stitchings, telling how he survived. His ordeal was compelling. He was trapped in an elevator with 5 others after the first plane struck Tower 1 and barely escaped by clawing through the walls with only his squeegee, and media from around the world have since flocked to him, reporting his story of survival and the tiny tool that saved him. Before he'd wake up at 4:45 a.m., 5 days a week, jump on the train to the city and do his job. Like the thousands of lunch pail workers who pass each day through the tunnels to the island, Demskier wasn't part of the Manhattan cliques. The vaunting ambition, the ceaseless pace, the glare of art and commerce. Instead, like the steel frames within the skyscraper's facade, he was one of the people behind the city's glamour, those who built, maintained, and ultimately removed piece by piece the twisted wreckage of the World Trade Center. Window cleaners have been much like the glass they clean, transparent, says Richard Fabry, publisher of an industry magazine. But Jan Demskier was never a guy to seek attention. Small and demure, he spoke little, and except for occasional mirth in his pale blue eyes, he revealed few emotions. Content with the predictable routine, he rarely missed a day at work, was honest and industrious, paid his mortgage, and spent time with his wife and kids. His Jersey City house, which had a view of the Twin Towers, was just minutes from the PATH train that took him straight to the sprawling trade center, a place he liked to call his second home. That Tuesday, he punched in at 6 a.m. and spent most of the morning cleaning glass doors and partitions on floors 90 to 95 in the North Tower, the impact zone. He worked through his 8 a.m. break so he could finish those top floors early. Otherwise, he'd be there until 9. He finished at 8:20 and took the elevator down to the 43rd floor cafeteria. At about 8:45, finishing his coffee in Danish, he left the cafeteria and dashed to make an express elevator about to run up to the 77th floor. At 8:48, as he and 5 others zipped up the shaft, they felt a jolt and then the building sway. The elevator dropped before the emergency brakes ground it to a halt. Later, when smoke starts seeping into the car, they knew they had to try to get out. Demskier quietly took charge. After they pried open the elevator doors, he saw the surface was drywall. "Does anyone have a knife?" he asked. No, nothing. So Demskier started chopping at the wall with the 18-inch blade of the squeegee. When the blade broke and fell down the shaft, he used the handle. It took over an hour, but the 6 men took turns scraping and poking and finally burst through to a men's bathroom on the 50th floor. Startled firefighters guided them in different directions. Demskier went down the stairs. The other tower collapsed at 9:59 when he was at the 11th floor. Soon engulfed in darkness, dust, and confusion, he put his hand on the shoulder of the stranger ahead, continuing down. Seeing him in a maintenance uniform, firefighters screamed to him, "How do we get out?" Demskier had them pan the smoke and dust-filled hallways on the 3rd floor with their flashlights, and he spotted an exit to another stairwell. He instinctively held it open as others went through first, until a fireman grabbed him by the arm and led him out. Outside, emergency workers gave him oxygen and water to rinse his eyes. He made his way to the West Side Highway, just a few blocks away, and was finally able to see the sky. When I look up and see the tower burning, I turned like ice, Demsur recalls. Everything was freezing in me. Then the antennas of Tower 1 started to teeter. I start to run. I kept looking back, saw the building banging down like a pancake. As he ran, his eyes were burning, his head was pounding, the dust was choking him, and then his body felt numb. A few more blocks away, he noticed how beautiful the day was, and sheepishly admits he began to touch himself to see if he was really alive, like a scene from a silly cartoon. Demsur couldn't have imagined he'd tell this story to so many, or that his squeegee handle in uniform would become part of the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. He'll relive a lot of it again this week when he attends ceremonies in New York and Washington, D.C., but by the end of the year, he hopes to be able to get back to work. It is a different kind of life, but I prefer the way it was when people were alive, Demsur says.